I like the way how you interpret Nat King Cole into your own way.
You?
Yes. Why you choose Nat King Cole? This is my first question. And then, we know that Nat King Cole used to be a jazz piano player with his famous trio. And then he goes pop. Do you think that he still has jazz sensitivity when he sings songs like Mona Lisa or something like that? Thank you very much.
There's a wonderful story behind Mona Lisa. When Nat Cole was discovered by two entrepreneurs, musical geniuses, writers, they tried to find things that he couldn't sing. They wanted to stretch, find out what he could and couldn't do. And they found out there was nothing he couldn't do. And so one guy said, I know something he can't do. He said, he can't do an Italian classic. They were thinking of things like, Be My Love. And the guys, and his producer said, I'll bet he can. So they found an Italian classic. Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa, and he tore it up. And that's why his career went to the moon. But the part about jazz is big. People don't think about the school of jazz and what it does for musicians. It does what even classical music doesn't do. It allows your imagination to be involved. Classical music is great, and it is probably the world's greatest music because it was written by men of renown 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago, and it was the total sum of their art. Jazz music, and that's the music where you interpret, but jazz music, you can improvise and make it your own. And so when you go to the school of jazz, you learn how to take a piece of material that is simple and twist it and turn it different ways, like Louis Armstrong did, and make it something memorable and personal. So every artist has his own identity, and that's what makes jazz so incredible.
Next question. Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about your next album? What's your next album going to be about?
Well, there's some things up in the air, but one idea that people want me to, producers want me to do is a solo album, just solo guitar. Something I haven't done. When I'm in my home, every day I play solo guitar. That's how I practice. Stretch and play new ideas, things people never heard before. And I even shocked myself by experimenting, and I come up with things. I said, ooh, this is great. I wonder what I can use it in. And I said, well, it probably only works here in my house. But when my friends hear it, they said, you got to put that on a record because it's nice stuff. So that looks like it's going to be my next project.
Next.
That pretty young lady right in the back, what you want to say?
Okay. You.
Just
it's really such a pleasure to have you here in Jakarta.
you too.
Yes, and my question is really simple actually. After your performance just now, and your ticket is also sold out, what do you like the most from the audience in Indonesia?
Well, Indonesia has its own personality as a whole. It's a group. It's a romantic place. They like romantic music here. And so I'm very safe in this country because I like romantic music too. And so the few romantic songs, well, I have quite a few in my show. They all go over well here in this country. And they last. It's not something that was a hit 20 years, 15 years, 10 years ago. It's still big in their minds. And that's the way I am about songs. Once I love a song, like Mona Lisa, Nature Boy, and all that stuff that we heard today, I love it too, by the time I was a little boy. And I'm glad there are people in the world who feel that same way. But as a nation, and all my friends agree, the ones who came here, I met a lot of them I hadn't seen in a long time because you brought them down here to do this festival. And at the hotel, I've seen people I haven't seen in 15, 20 years. It's because of Jakarta's love for music. They know who's who. And they seem to know the great ones. Hopefully they think about me that way. But tonight, I enjoyed putting on the show for you, and I'm happy that you love the romantic songs.
Next.
Hello, George. I'm from jazzduality.com. First, I'd like to say it was a really great show because it's not only the tribute to Nat King Cole, but you also give 4 extras of your song, your own song. I'd like to ask you, you have the album in 1989 and 1993, which featured Starting All Over and Loving on Borrowed Time. It became a radio hit here in Indonesia. Why? I want to know why you never considered it as your greatest hits and hardly plays it on your show. Yes.
Some songs slip through the cracks. It happens in everybody's. That's why many years later you hear something by an artist and you say, man, that where was that song? Like Louis Armstrong. I did agree that it is because it slipped through the cracks. But when he comes back, the whole era that produced that song, you know, the time period when it was done, it all comes to mind and brings you to a place that our generation missed. But because of Louis Armstrong's savvy and his ability to create a vision when he sang, we still got the benefit of that. So every now and then songs slip through the crack, but I'm glad those songs didn't slip through on you because they're my favorites. They're some of my best works, and I'm glad you liked it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. The last question, because Joe's need to get rest for the tomorrow's show, right? Please, lady.
I'm up now. When you do a show, you're like,
Thank you. How do you see young musicians in jazz musical scene right now?
excuse me, one more time.
How do you see young musicians in jazz musical scene right now?
Young people.
Young jazz musician.
I don't think you have to worry about jazz music. It's alive and well. We got a lot of incredible young musicians whose names are not out there yet. I remember years ago, I saw a kid, he was about 17 years, 18 years old, from Texas. Today he's a superstar, rock girl. He's one of the brightest stars in jazz music. But he popped up out of nowhere, came out of Texas. That state produced a lot of great musicians, but not on a regular basis. In the old days, it was very big. And then all of a sudden, here's this kid comes out of Texas and blows us apart. And he's very romantic too, so that explains why he's down here in your country. But he's also one of the finest musicians, one of my favorites. And many years ago, I was in a park, I was doing a concert, me and B.B. King. We had 100,000 people in the park. And this kid's father brought his 2 sons. One was Branford Marshall, he was 14, and Winton was 13. And I met him backstage. And this kid, the 13-year-old, Winton Marsalis, came up to me and he looked up at me and he said, Mr. Benson, I said, yes. He said, when I grow up, I'm gonna be just like you. But actually, he excels to a place nobody has been. He's become an incredible force for jazz music and a voice that speaks for jazz. He's not just a great musician. He was that when he was 14 years old. But when he came with his criticism about non-jazz, even myself. And one day he was talking, we were doing an interview, and he started commenting on my music. And the interviewer stopped him. He said, wait a minute, you're talking about George Benson, don't talk about George. I said, don't stop him. Because jazz needs a voice. They need somebody to fight for them. And he was that guy, and he still is. And we're very proud of him. Him and I are very, very, very good friends. And he has to learn, like Miles Davis told him. He asked Miles one day, he said, Miles, why do you play that funny music? You know, just the one commercial tune that Miles record every now and then, you know. And he said, how do you play that? And Miles looked at him and said, you're going to play it too. And he said, oh no. So when that day comes, you know that Miles Davis knew what he was talking about. That's another genius of a guy who woke up the jazz world, gave us pictures, memories, and feelings that were just, you'll never forget. So that's the thing that jazz does. It creates personalities who bring us inventions and ideas and thoughts and feelings that just don't exist anywhere else. That's why I say jazz is not going anywhere. We got among us geniuses who are measuring right now in their mind what they're going to do to improve the music world. So I don't think we have to worry about it. So while I'm nursing, she's nursing me, I'm listening to her, she's humming and singing. So, you know, kids take in everything. So I remembered all these melodies. And by the time I started school at 4 years old, I knew all the songs because she hummed and sang to me. She was a singer. Her middle name, her nickname was Sing. You know, they called her Sing because she sang. My father, my natural father, he didn't raise me. He was in the war when I was born. He was only 19 years old when I was born. He was in the army and he got shot up, our legs, bullets everywhere. 21 bullet wounds in his leg in World War II. By the time he came home, I was 4 years old, but I was in school already. And I was very young to start school. Then they found I could sing. And they called me for everything. Every time, let little Georgie Benson do it. Remember that tape that they played of me singing with Nat Cole when I was 17 years old? That's way late. I was doing that stuff when I was 4. So my point is that it started without me knowing. I didn't ask for that. It was something that happened in my life. But now the good question you asked was about Nat Cole. Why are you so? Who was my favorite? Nat Cole. I got the privilege of extending the Nat Cole mentality and the Nat Cole phenomenon into hopefully the next generation. Because he was so great, so incredible. And he was like me, an accident. You know, he was playing his piano because he played piano in his father's church. His father hated that. He was playing music his father didn't like. But he left town with a road group and he went to LA and formed a group called the Nat Cole Trio. And the most famous guy in the group was the great guitar player. His name was Oscar Moore. And Oscar Moore, when Nat Cole started singing, he pushed Oscar Moore into the background because Nat's voice, once they heard it, he went straight to the top. That story was so great in my mind, I heard his earlier recordings as a kid, and that's all I wanted to do, be like him, because everybody loved Nat. You didn't have to be like blues people like him. Classical people like him, but not anybody else. But Nat, everybody. You could be in China. Nat Cole, oh. And I don't mean to be funny, because Chinese know a lot more about American music than I ever imagined. I went to Shanghai, and they knew all about my career. One guy, he saw me walking down the hall, and he started crying. I said, "There's a guy over there crying. Just don't go near him." He walked toward me, and he said, "I'm crying because I never thought I'd meet you." You know, and I said, "How would he even know who I am?" But he did, and he loved my music. So I kept thinking, how come I'm not rich? They got 1 billion people here, $1 apiece, that's all I need. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, thank you, Jones. I think maybe